If you're a young guy, you're probably on this journey or starting this journey. If you're 18 to 24, you're probably starting this journey where you're trying to become the best version of yourself, build yourself up physically, mentally, everything about you, your business, you're trying to grow it. I mean, that's why you'll be watching my content, I assume. I want to discuss and talk about what I believe is one of the biggest factors that holds people back and pulls them down and doesn't allow them to reach as the top and be as powerful as they can be. If you're 18 to 24, you're probably trying to become the richest, strongest, smartest, most powerful version of yourself right now. That's probably the journey that you are on. You've probably been trying to build businesses. Maybe you've had a go at trading. Maybe you've tried e-com. Maybe you've tried all these ways to try and amount some wealth and to get some money in your bank account. And maybe things have gone wrong. I'm going to discuss today in this video about why I believe this has happened, or it's the biggest thing that holds young men back in general, and why they struggle to break that ceiling and to move up to the next level. Now, whatever you're doing in your life, whatever journey you're on, whatever you're striving for, if it's a fitness journey, a business journey, or just trying to improve as an individual, personal development, I'm sure there's been some hurdles that you've had to come over and some obstacles that you have to beat and some things that just haven't gone right. You have to ask yourself in that moment, who is it that you're turning to? Who is it that you're when their struggle happens, who are you going to for advice? Who are you talking to? And I feel like now in this modern generation, there's this huge opportunity with the internet for wealth creation and all these different variants, all these different ways that you can make money and all these different journeys you can go on that weren't available for me when I was 18, 19, 20. I went on a very different journey, a physical one in the gym, and I think with that, now the opportunity to turn to somebody, unless you've got a father that you admire and you look up to and can advise you, and most of the time in this modern world, your dad doesn't know what the fuck you're doing, doesn't know what you're talking about when you're talking about trading or e-com, or he doesn't even know how to do it most of the time. So you kind of are isolated and lost in that place. And I see this over time and time and time again with young guys. They come up with these great ideas, they try and execute these great ideas, and they can't execute them because they're missing gaps of knowledge, or they're missing something. And I believe the main thing that they're missing, and the main problem, and the reason that they're struggling and they're getting caught at these points, is because everyone's trying to do everything on their own. They believe in the hero's journey, and the me going through this hardship, and me going through this struggle, and me not knowing what to do is part of the journey, and it is for sure. But there's almost this inflated ego that has been created within these people, because they've decided that I'm going to do it all on my own. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to push myself harder than anyone else, and I'm going to get to the top, and then I'm going to look down on everyone, and and this inflated ego. Ego is a very healthy thing if it's utilized properly. It's good to have an ego. It's good to want to prove people wrong. But when you inflate it so much that you become hubris, that you believe it's all down to you, I'm the only one that can change it, and I'm going to do it all on my own without help from anybody. That's when you have this kind of like, you think you're a god and you can do anything. And you can, but it's just a hard, long journey compared to building out a team, having people around you, having mentors, having people you can ask questions, having friends, having groups that are on the same journey, having a brotherhood. It's the same journey. You just have support, and there's nothing wrong with having support. And I feel like that's something that's changed in this new era, because everyone's sitting at their desk talking on the internet to each other. And we're missing this human connection side of life, and people are just becoming autistic about numbers on the screen and making money, and they're forgetting what life is actually about. And yes, you got to make money, 100%, but that has become the most important, highest value thing that you can do in your life, rather than growth and becoming an actual man and going through challenges and learning about people. And you got to remember, I said this in a lot of my videos, the whole world, every organization, every business, everything you deal with is just built up of people. So people skills, that they call it, is the most important skill in life. And it's the thing that actually makes a difference in the long run. as you grow up and you realize how business is done and how people interact and what happens, it's not autistic people on a computer just typing away. It's managing people, talking to people, going to meetings, making sales, investing in yourself and growing as a person in a group setting. These things are how you become better. You have skills, as in the talent that you have and the thing that you are good at, but to be able to leverage that skill and actually monetize it or actually be a useful individual in the world, you have to have people skills. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to deal with different emotional types and different people. And that all comes from teamwork and putting yourself in situations where you have to deal with other people. And the lack of this skill is what I see time and time again with individuals now, young guys coming up, finding a skill online, becoming very, very good at it. But then they don't know how to build a business. They don't know how to build brotherhood. They don't know how to build teams. They don't know how to scale. They don't know how to do all of these things because they've just done everything by themselves. It's great to be independent and to be able to build skills and learn things on your own. I mean, life does come down to you, and that is the overall message, that you are responsible for the outcome, but you're also responsible for all of your relationships, and you're responsible if people like you or not. You're responsible if you're part of teams or not. You're responsible if you grow and can scale to the next level. And growth and scale to the next level always comes down to relationships, always comes down to network. All of your opportunities will come from other people. So becoming very skill orientated and very, very, very good at something is the first step. The second step in being able to leverage that is understanding people and dealing with people. And what I find now is people isolate themselves and they lock themselves away and they just work. And then when you meet them, they're a bit weird. And they don't know how to interact, and they don't know how to look you in the eye, and they don't know how to shake hands, and they don't know how to do basic things, and business back in the day was the complete opposite way, where you could only do it by going out and to meet people. There was no telesales. It was knocking on people's doors, saying hello and selling, and then building business through relationships and all of that stuff. So it's completely flipped on its head in a very, very short amount of time. And now we've got young guys like you building out skills, but not knowing how to leverage them and not knowing actually how to do business. People think a skill is business. That is not what a business is. A business is not a skill. A business is a team of individuals that have different skill sets that utilize it to make a goal, to achieve something, to sell it to another person. That's a business. So if you can't be part of a team, if you have no human connection and no people skills, and you can't take direction, and you always want to be your inflated ego always wants to be the guy at the top, how are you going to grow? How are you going to change your situation? You're just going to live in your mum's basement for the rest of your life typing on a computer? Or you think you're going to make fuck you money and you're going to move out and that happens, but it happens to a 0.01% of people. So you have to change your mentality when it comes to the solo journey. Every successful person on the planet, in every endeavor, has a team. And I talk about fighting because I always talk about it. You see the gladiator in the arena. You see the guy in the cage or in the ring competing. That's the guy you want to be. You want to be that person. You don't see the 50 people behind him that he trains with, he works with, he does mental coaching with, he hits pads with, he lifts weights with, he runs with, his teammates that he spars with, the people that his social circle that give him emotional support. All of these people that turn him into that person. Yes, he's the one that does it, and he's the tip of the spear, as they call it, but you have a whole spear behind it. And the best way to become tip of the spear is to be a part of every single section of it, to understand how it works. So again, I use fighting as an example. Before I even had my first fight, obviously I was a training partner, and being a training partner, I was part of my other training partners' fight camps and their fight camps, and then I was in the corner, and then, I built myself up doing all the other little jobs as part of a fight camp to then be the guy that competes. And then when I did compete, I always tell this, I say this is a bit of advice to the younger fighters that I always give as well, is if you're going to go have a fight and you're in a gym and there's 50 other fighters, just to convince one of the fighters or two of the fighters if you can be in his corner. You're not going to say anything, you just want to be there. Because then you get the experience of walking to the ring, sitting in the corner, in live combat, right next to it, and you get that cage walk or that ring walk. Before I had my first fight, I had that ring walk maybe 25 times because we had a super active fight team. So I had all that experience. I gained all that experience from somebody else. I borrowed it before I had to do it the first time for myself. And that made that a lot easier for me. So it's like putting yourself in those environments and those situations. But if you are on your own and you're just doing a solo journey and you've got no friends, you've got no business partners, how can you lean on someone else for advice and for experience? You can't. You're just doing it the hard way because you're a tough guy and you're the number. And it's this whole, mentality that has somehow appeared, which never existed before. The lone wolf mentality, it's just, it doesn't even make sense because wolves hunt in packs. So it doesn't even make sense. The whole analogy is wrong. So I don't know where it come from. And I feel like the internet and the access to all of the tools and to all to everything that you have now has made you hide away from society and has made you hide away from other people. And maybe the reason you want to be so successful is because you can't be successful out there in the real world with people and you feel isolated and you want to make money and you want to show someone or you want to do, that's fine. But I am telling you, the quickest way to success is through other people, is through becoming good with people. And one of the reasons I know this and I'm so convinced of this is that for the last 5-6 years of my life, I've been heavily involved in building one of the largest and most successful networks in the world. And now in my life, where I am, I have absolute technicians and masters in their craft across the whole world that I can rely on and I can call. So if I need something done in Japan, or if I need something done in Miami, or if I need something done in London, I know people through a network of individuals that can help me achieve that goal. I could never do that on my own. But now, because of my people skills and my, connections and network, I have access to so many different individuals with so much knowledge that I don't have. But you think you can do it all on your own. You think you're better than all of them. You think you can sit there and you can just get it all done without having to speak to anybody, without having to rely on anybody. And it's just not real. It's some fallacy that you've told yourself. I have no idea where it's come from. You need to build out teams. You need to build friendship groups. You need to build people that you can rely on when shit goes wrong. Everything's fine when it's going right. But when life starts to turn and things go wrong, as they're going to and as they will, and that's what true entrepreneurship is. Being an entrepreneur is not starting a business and making money. Being an entrepreneur is starting multiple businesses, failing, getting better, failing, getting better, failing, going through this with the markets and with the crashes. There's a huge crash coming at some point, going to wipe everyone out. Then what are you going to do? That's being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is picking yourself back up after a crash or after a problem, or dealing, problem solving. Problem solving is a huge part of it. If you can't solve problems, you definitely can't, because you're the only person who's got the problem, so you don't have to rely on anybody. You need to learn these skills and you need to put yourself in this situation. And I'm saying, as a young man, all I'm saying is you need to be social and try and rely on other people and find other people on the same journey as you. It's the quickest shortcut to success is finding like-minded individuals that are trying to be like you. You're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, but all my mates want to do is go out, drink and fuck girls. Okay, screw those guys. There's other people out there. You can find other people that are killers like you, that are trying to be successful, that are trying to improve. It isn't just you. The world is full of them. You just have to identify them and find them. So now we get to the point. I've had a little rant and we get to the point. Is the whole idea behind this video is to change your perception, to change how you view brotherhood and community, or even if you've even considered it. When you think about being a businessman and you think about making money, have you considered brotherhood and community? That's what the question I want you to ask yourselves. In your business right now, would it help to have 10 other people that you could rely on that are doing the same thing or helping you do the same thing or specialize in different things that can help your business? And how much worth would that bring to your business? How much do you need that? Or are you just good solo and going on your own? That's the question that I want you guys to ask yourself throughout the rest of this video. And I'll explain to you why this is a bit of a shortcut. Because between the ages of 18 and 24, I think it's more like 25, but your ego is at its highest. Your overestimation of who you are as a man is at its highest. As you grow a bit past that and you mature, or whatever they want to call it, I don't believe in all that, but if you grow up a little bit, you realize that you need to rely on other people and you see the world in a different way. The part of your brain forms at 25 that gives you an understanding of consequence. It's why, as a fighter, you can't become a fighter at 26 because you understand the consequences of getting punched in the face, like long term. You think more long term after 25 years old. That's why the best soldiers are 18 to 24. That's why they will send you off to kill you and to murder people in different countries, and they want you in the army at 18. That's why they want you there, because at 25, a part of your brain develops which gives you consciousness of the future. You understand the future. So you understand the repercussions of your actions, basically. You realize that all of this hard work and all of this effort and all of this solo journey hasn't got the payoff that you thought it would have. And it would have been way better if I just knew someone else who knew what they were doing and could direct me and help me, and I could down my ego a little bit, or my inflated ego, or my pride of I'm the guy who's going to do it all. I can drop that. But between 18 and 24, it's very, 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 very difficult to do that. And even probably watching this video, you're sitting there going, nah, I could do it myself. Okay, good luck. And you'll learn the lesson the hard way, and it will take time. And the idea behind this video is to battle that ego inside yourself and make you realize that if you calm down a little bit and you think things through over a 10, 20, 30, 40-year plan rather than over a 12-month plan, it would definitely make more sense to build out teams that you can rely on long term. And then even if it goes the way you want it to go, and you're the one guy and you smash it and you make a load of money. Now, this is the part that people don't talk about, and it's hard for a lot of people to understand. I can understand it because I kind of went on a solo journey with my fight career when I changed gyms. So I had my team and I had everyone around me, and I had like the perfect setup for fighting. I got into the UFC and I went 2-0 or 3-0 in the UFC. It was 3-0. Went 3-0 in the UFC. And then my gym collapsed because the owner messed up with whatever. So they closed it down. So I had to leave. It's not like I wanted to leave, but I had to leave. So at the time, I had a very, very good sponsor in San Diego, in California, for a company called Bad Boy. They looked after me. So I decided to go to San Diego there because they gave me a place to live, a car to drive, and there was some world-class training there. And when I moved out to San Diego, I trained at a gym under a guy called Eric Del Fiero. And I lost my entire team. So what you have to understand is my brotherhood, or my network at that time, was the fight gym, and was my training partners, and was my coaches, and I underestimated how important those people were. I underestimated the emotional support that I got from them, the just support in every way. Obviously technical. I hadn't lost at that point. I hadn't lost a fight in years because of these guys, because I was, they were my mentors, they were my friends, they were everything to me, my social circle. So I started this solo journey, and I moved out to America for a few years. And I was in a successful point in my life, is what I'm saying. I was fighting in the UFC. I was making good money. Life was good. I was living on a yacht. I was driving a G-Wagon. I was living the life, as you want to call it, in the UFC. And in America, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are American anyway, the UFC is much bigger. This is 10 years ago. If you walk down the street as a UFC fighter in America, you're a celebrity, basically. And it was a very, very different experience. But I was on my own. So although I had people around me and new training partners, and I used to train with a guy called Phil Davis, who was a close friend of mine, but I was still on my own. It was a very solo journey, very lonely, very. I would achieve things, and I'd have good training sessions, but who do I tell? Who do I talk to about it? Who do I joke with it about it? Who fulfills me in that way? No one. I'm successful, but there's no brotherhood aspect. I've left all that behind. And because I'd left and moved to America, there wasn't like bad feelings or bad vibes about it, because they knew I had to do it. But there was a disconnect. So it's not like I could talk to them about it, or, I always remember when I was in the UFC, there's negative things about being in the UFC. It's not all positive. But I had these negative feelings about being in the UFC, and I couldn't talk to my close friends and training partners about it, because their dream was to be in the UFC and I was in the UFC. So if I had anything bad to say about my situation, they'd be like, fuck it, bro, you're in the UFC, shut the fuck up. So I was in this like isolated situation where I was very, very lonely, where any problems that I had to deal with, I had no one to talk to them about. And yeah, it was a tough, like emotionally a tough time as a fighter. And again, that happens now if you're a web designer, or if you're in AI, or if you're in trading, and you start smashing it and making a load of money, and then all of a sudden you move from making $2,000 a month to making 20 grand a month, and now you're in this whole new environment where you're the only person you know that makes 20 grand a month, and you're on your own, and you don't know what to do with your money, and you don't know how to spend it, and you have three months of maybe enjoying it and traveling or whatever, but no one else can go with you because no one else can afford it. So all of a sudden you're in this whole new league on your own. So, okay, well done, you made some money. So now you got money in the bank. But that I know a lot of wealthy people that have money in the bank but haven't fulfilled the other parts of their lives, haven't fulfilled relationships, haven't built out teams, haven't done anything like that, and they just become lonely. And then they try and fulfill that loneliness by spending money. And then money becomes their god, and they just completely continue this cycle of, I need to make more money because when I make this much money, and I'm not saying people with money aren't happy. That's not what I'm saying, because they definitely are. And I'm not saying you don't need to make money, because you definitely do. But there's healthier ways to do it, easier ways to do it. And that all comes from brotherhood and network. And it's much more fulfilling to make money as a team, as a group, and everyone make money and everyone build together. And then you kind of like move as a unit, and you can experience these things. Imagine now I drop 100 grand in your bank account and you can travel to anywhere in the world, but you do it on your own. And you travel to all these amazing places, trying to find yourself, trying to experience life, but you're on your own. And you have all these stories and all these things that you did, but no one to share them with because no one else is there. And you've not built anything. As men, we're supposed to construct, we're supposed to build legacy. You can't build legacy as a solo trader, as a solo AI agent, as a solo web designer. There's no fucking legacy there. No one cares. You just make money, and money is great. But once you learn that skill, you need to spread that and build brotherhood and build people that rely on you. You can still be top of the mountain if you want. If you're an outlier and you're very successful young, then you can always be the top guy. Great. If not, and you're watching this video, it's good to be part of a team even if you're not the number one guy, because then you learn how teams work, you learn how business works, you learn from your environment, and you can lean on each other, and then you can go off and build your own thing in the future. You know, once you build your own thing, then you understand how to run a team, you understand how to be a part of a team. But if you've never been part of a team, you've never had a job, you've never worked with people, you've never had a boss, and all of a sudden you're trying to get, then you find people that, I've been in this situation where you have a guy who's never worked in a real job, made a bit of money, started a business, and then he believes because he's the boss, because he's never had a boss, you have to do exactly what you're told. So he's the boss, he tells you what to do, you have to do it. And that's not how you treat people, and that's not how you treat staff, and no one respects you when you talk to them like that. The way I was taught when I was coming up in business, and in the fight gym, and in everything else, is the guy who runs the company works for the people that work for him. And he makes their life easier, and he provides and supplies things for them. And by doing that, they work better, and they create better. You have to provide them with value. If you're as the boss, you're saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, you're not going to have staff for very long, because people need to feel like they're improving and they're growing as individuals. And this is all the sort of stuff that you learn when you're part of teams. Another thing that's incredibly valuable from building teams and building groups and having a network and being around other people and not being a solo entrepreneur that's in his basement tapping on his keyboard trying to make digits on the screen is you don't actually know how far you can push yourself. You don't know your limits. It's very hard. Again, I use the fighting analogy or even just bodybuilding analogy or whatever, the gym. You don't know how hard you can push yourself. You don't know how hard you can get punched in the face. You don't know. You don't know how hard you can train. You don't know how fast you can run. You don't know your limits. You only know that limit when someone else pushes you past it. And that comes in from different ways, either from a boss or someone shouting at you, making you work harder for certain things, or through competition. So I talk about this in depth in another video, but we talk about the mentor, peer, and mentee. They're the three stages of basically networking. And you at this stage at 18, 24, most probably you're all in the mentee stage, and you've got mentors and you've got peers. So a mentor will tell you what to do and you'll do it. He'll push you. As a mentor will push you past your limits. That's his job. That's what he should do. If that's a boss, if that's whatever, they'll push you. A coach, they push you. Imagine being in a boxing gym and he says do 1,000 press-ups. You're like, I'm not doing 1,000 press-ups, never. And you do 100 and you want to die, but he sits there and he makes sure that you do the other 900 and he goes, okay, and he counts them for you, and that's what happens, and that pushes you past your limits. That's in a physical aspect, a physical way, and then you have your peers, your training partners. They're the ones that you compete with, and they're the ones that you yourself push yourself past your limit, but to beat him. That's in a competitive manner. And that's what you get from a network or from a group. You get that competition. You get that, this guy, let's say it's sales. This guy sold this much this week. I'm going to sell more. I'm going to impress this person. I'm going to do this. I'm going to push past this. And then you get held accountable for your level. You could think right now on your own, in your basement, I keep saying basement because I think it's funny, in your basement, that you are the best trader in the world. But then if you meet 100 different ones and you sat next to them and they're out trading you, then you realize your level. You can't realize your level when you're on your own. It just doesn't happen. So you need competition. That's the bit. And this is the thing. Everyone thinks building teams is like a selfless act, and it's the most selfish thing on the planet. I'm going to do another video about being selfish. Being selfish is the best thing you could do. And you want to be selfish. The way you want to be selfish is you want to surround yourself with killers. And then you have to be the best because you're in a competitive mode. That's a selfish thing to do. If you surround yourself with other people that are better than you at everything, then you will find you push yourself to become better at those things. So it's that competitive nature within us is how you're going to scale your business, is how you're going to make more money, is how you're going to be better at talking to girls, is how you're going to be in better shape, it's how you're going to improve in every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life is going to improve via competition. That's how men improve, by competing with other men. It pushes you further than just thinking, I'm good at this, but I think I can get a little bit better. No one cares. You don't hold yourself to the same standard as you, and it's just human nature. You might be thinking that you do, but trust me, there's someone out there better than you, and they will push you further. But if you're sitting on your own, you're never going to find it. So then this is the hack. It's obvious from everything I've been talking about, but you as yourself in your industry or in what you're trying to become, or maybe you don't even know what you're trying to become, but you're pushing yourself anyway and you're trying to get in shape. I always talk about it in a physical form because it's the easiest way to explain it. If you are trying to get in better shape and you're doing it all on your own, you go into the gym and you promise yourself you're going to go to the gym every single day, 7 days a week, or twice a day, 7 days a week, and you're going to push yourself as hard as you can, but you're tired one day and stressed one day and something comes up, and you what you have to understand is it's very easy to justify anything to yourself, to make an excuse, but this or that or this. But if you have a training partner that you have to meet at the gym every single day at a certain time, at a certain hour, and you've said to him that you're going to be there and he's going to go there, and you know if you don't go there, he's going to say, why weren't you there, bro? We said we were going to get here at 10 o'clock and you didn't come. That is going to hold you accountable, is going to push you further, is going to ensure that you're always there. And yes, we should always be able to rely on ourselves. And yes, it should come from within. And yes, we shouldn't need external pressures. But it's the cheapest, simplest, easiest way to get things done. So just because you think you're the strongest and doesn't mean you can't still utilize the things that have worked for millions of people for millions of years. Brotherhood and accountability. And that's what you have to think now is from a business perspective, if that's why you're watching this video, and you've got a solo grind and you're trying to make money, how much better would it be to make money with one other person, 2 other people, 3 other people, 10 other people, depending on who you can find in your environment, who you know? Why would that be better? And this is the secret, or maybe not secret's the wrong word, but the little trick and tip. Even if you make less money, even if you make, let's say you make 20 grand a month, and if you work with 3 other people, you only make 15 grand a month. That's only for now. Life is long. By adding other people to your team and having less responsibility, you make less money, but other people make money because of you. You now build trust, you build groups, you build individuals that you can rely on for a long amount of time. And then you get width in your business, so you have more people that can handle more tasks. And then in 6 months, you might be able to scale to the next level, even if you drop down the amount of money that you're making now. That's more. There's more value in building out people that you can rely on, that hold you accountable, that push you further, obviously you have to pick the right people, and there's risk involved, but that's life. That's business. That's what you got to do. So you have to find the right people. You have to pick the right people. You have to understand how those people. You have to deal. But that comes down to you, and that comes down to your people skills. And this is what we're trying to learn. So even if you're not at the 20, 15 grand mark, maybe that's a dream world to you, and you're making 1,500 quid, and if you have someone else, you're making $1,000. Great, better, because now you have two minds, and two brains are better than one, whatever they say. So you got to understand this and practice this and build this for relationships and for growing and everything. And value in life, especially at the ages of 18 to 24, is not quantified by money. You have 60 years to make money. Literally 60, and that's the same if you're going to live to 80. You have 60 years. You can make money forever. Making money is the simplest thing in the world. You can do it forever. You're always going to have to work. You're always going to have to make money. So building relationships along the way and people that you can rely on. People are the key to everything. People are the key to more money. People are the key to everything you want in life. You got to think, if you are at a young age helping others make money and they look up to you, they've got 60 years to achieve things and be your friends and help open doors and do whatever they will do, because they'll remember back 40 years ago when you helped them with this thing, and then they're your friends. That's how it works. Life is long. Everyone talks about how short life is and go get it and da-da-da-da. That's great for motivation, but it's not true. Life is long. And the length of it and the growth and the people that you have impressions on, by helping them, they will help you back. The amount of doors that have been opened for me from people in my past that I have had relationships with blows my mind. I'm a very self-assured man. I'm a very know what I want person, and I'm a very direct person, and I've always been like that. What that meant is I either had very good friends or you fucking hated me, because I was like, I want this, I'm like this, a driven person. So if you were in my circle, you were close and you were a part of it, normally because you were a fighter, because I didn't care about anything else at a young age. Then we built connection, and we built connection that lasted. I don't know if this is like my strongest ability in life, but I somehow create connections with people like this that are lifelong, and that become friendships in many ways that other people don't have that. I think it's a respect thing. I think because I've always thought about this, but I think because people see that I'm on a mission, and people see that I am truthful, and people see that I'm completely myself, and that I don't fake and I don't pretend, and I push for things, they respect it. It's kind of like a guy that doesn't drink alcohol, and everyone thinks he's a weirdo. Why does he drink alcohol? But you kind of respect him because you're like, oh, he's got the self-control to not drink alcohol. You respect him on some level, on an energetical level. I don't know what it is, but I believe I get that. And through everyone that I've met who I believe is a high-level person, I withheld relationships with them. From Chael Sonnen, who was the coach at my Ultimate Fighter series, me and him are good friends, talk to him whenever I want. If I need something that he could help me with, I message him. Dana White, president of UFC, I have his phone number, I could text him, he responds, because he has some sort of mutual respect for me, not just for being a fighter, but on some energetical level. No idea why. Still don't know why. And then he comes down to, obviously, Andrew and Tristan. These guys, we were training partners, friends in the fighting world, and they have opened every door you could imagine for me. From being a 19, 20-year-old cage fighter and earning their respect, to 20 years later, maybe not 20, 18 years later, making myself sound older than I am, all of the doors that they have opened for me in the last 5 or 6 years, it's come from me building out relationships, from other people. It's not come from my knowledge, from me. It's come from other people. It's come from my ability with other people. And that's something that you need to consider. It's something you need to think about. If you're a solo entrepreneur sitting in your mum's basement, trying to make money is great, but on your own, it's not as good as it is with a team, with people that you inspire, with people that grow because of you. And I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, yeah, well, I did this and I had my friend or I had my business partner, he stabbed me in the back. So screw those people, I'm going to do it all myself. You're now using one person to judge the whole world. You got to take responsibility for it if you feel like you were stabbed in the back or you were screwed over. That just comes down to your selection process. It comes down to the mentality and the vibe that you were giving off. I'm not saying let everybody in. I'm not saying work with everybody. I'm not saying instantly just go out there. And it's the same as trying to find a girlfriend or a wife. You don't just bang every girl that you see. You have to be selective. You have to have standards, your own standards, and you have to set qualifiers. The same with dating. You have to. There has to be qualities that these people have that you want in your life. You can't just meet everybody and think this would be a good business partner. It's the same. It comes down to understanding and building relationships. So if you got fucked over, if you got stabbed in the back, it's your fault because you selected wrong in the first place. Everyone is not like that. That just means that they have the wrong mentality. So you found someone with a negative and bad mentality that cares more about himself or thinks that money is more important than brotherhood. Money is more important than partnership. Money is more important. And it's just not right. But if you're making copious amounts of money, that those issues don't happen as much. That's normally like early on when people don't have they don't look at life over a 40-year 40-year plan, because once they screw over one person, they're dead to everyone. Once you build reputation and people know you, and again, in business and in life, reputation is the number one thing. So that comes across everything. It comes with how you deal with relationships. Let's say that your girlfriend breaks up with you and then you're publicly seen begging with flowers trying to get her back. That's now your reputation. You think another woman's going to want to be with you? No, because you're a loser. So it's the same if you screw someone over in a business deal and you don't pay someone over something you were supposed to pay them over, or you don't finish a job, that is your reputation. And that stuff lingers forever, because people talk, there's rumors. Your reputation should be as clean as possible, and that's something that's super, super important. And I think you can't have this negative mentality because you got screwed over once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Who cares? That means it's your fault. That means you're selecting the wrong people, or you're giving off the wrong energy, or you're looking for the wrong thing. You need to build yourself up when it comes to finding business partners and finding people. And one bit of advice, but this is from a negative thing from my side. I'm very, very quick at like burning bridges. If someone screws me over, I never speak to them again. Close the door. And I learn this comes from an arrogance and from an ego standpoint. I learn over maybe the last 5 to 10 years that that's the complete wrong mentality to have. And you should never burn a bridge. You should never, ever completely shut someone out. You can stop someone from affecting you, and you can not speak to them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying to hold relationships forever, but you should never let someone that you did business with, or someone that obviously added value to your life at some point, you should never close that door, because all that does is close doors for you in the future. Again, like I said, life is long, 4-year period. Then you might be in a meeting one day and the person that you burned the bridge with is sitting across the table from you as an advisor to the guy that you want to do a deal with. And then you're fucked. And it's just not a good way to do business. And I've learned that from a few very, very high level people, that you never want to leave someone upset. You can part ways, but you want to do it in the right manner. And that comes with business partners, and it comes with females as well. Never close the door to a woman, because she might come back. Well, she's going to come back, and you're going to be like, nah. That's your decision. But if you burn the bridge, she's never coming back. If you burn the bridge, that business partner's never coming back. Imagine that business partner that you had a good, okay relationship with, but they did one thing that pissed you off, and you burn the bridge, which is what I've done many, many times, and they go on to become one of the most famous, most successful people in the world. Then that door is now closed to you. It's just a little bit of advice that I've learned negatively through my life over the last 20 years and I'm still struggling with it. I'm a very screw me over once, I'll never speak to you again kind of guy. And I'm working on it, but it's a part of my character. Step by step, we'll get there. But here's the reality. To end off, if you're 18 to 24, you're a young man and you're trying to become as successful as possible and you're trying to do everything by yourself, you are not special. There's nothing special about you. There's millions of 18 to 24-year-olds trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to grind as hard as they can, figure things out, push, and work 18 hours a day, trying to da-da-da-da-da. And there'll be some success there. But thinking, I don't need anyone, I'm going to do it all on myself, it's not a confidence. You've not got confidence. Confidence comes from competence. Competence means that you've done something with your life. If you're on a point where you haven't done anything and you're just pushing, it's a great talent to have. But that's just your ego, your inflated ego taking over, this hero story that I'm going to do everything myself, I'm going to be the big boss, I'm going to da-da-da-da-da. You need other people, because as simple as it sounds, but when you're on your own, you do not know what you do not know. Simple. It's very easy. Things, what you'll find out with life, things are very, very obvious once you know them. But if you don't know them, you don't know them. And when you're on your own and you say you're working 18 hours a day and you're working as hard as you can, but compared to who? Compared to you, maybe compared to you last week, but what's your standard? What's your level? How good are you? How competent are you? You don't even know. You've got nothing to compare it against. So this makes you miss opportunities, make mistakes, and take years sometimes to solve problems that other people have already solved, to get knowledge that other people already have. Yes, it's fantastic to have that knowledge yourself. And yes, it's good to go through those journeys. But speed wins, always. And if you're trying to be successful as young as possible, then you want speed. That's why men who actually level up don't sit around romanticizing about being a lone wolf and doing the solo grind and I built this all myself. They surround themselves with others, with men that have done more than them or have the same fire and spirit that they have to achieve things and to push themselves and to move forward. Other men that call out bullshit, that help you hold you to your own standard, that compete with you, that push you further than you could ever push yourself on your own. That's how you accelerate. That's how you become the man that you're talking about becoming, that you're saying in 2026, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to move forward. That's how you actually do it. You do it by surrounding yourself with others that create pressure and push you up and make you hold yourself to a better standard. So my advice to you is if you want to stay average, then do it alone. If you actually want to excel, then let's find those people. Let's find the people that you can build with, that you can grow with. And like I said, maybe not just financially grow with, but grow as an actual man. Build out your character, build out your traits that you're trying to become to then later in life be worth something. Not just a monetary value, but be a man that can inspire others. If you want to become that man, then you need to find your circle. And maybe you know exactly who those people are. Go out and get them, go out and grab them and grow together. But if you're someone who doesn't and you don't have that, or you're isolated and you're trying to find this and this is something you're looking for, it's something I have built. It's something I built for you. I built a community of individuals, a community of killers, a community of people that are trying to grow and trying to improve and trying to upgrade their lives. It's called The Upgrade. You can join that community. It's in the top line of the description. So if you're searching for this and you want this and you understand the value of this, then it's all there for you. And I promise you, when you find this, everything will move quicker. Because the secret is, the reality is that men rise together or they don't rise at all.